comprehend it or understand it, because the spirit of death is on them. The spirit of life is not on them. Okay? Because they have bowed down to the so-called white man and learned their ways. Okay? And take their ways hook, line, and sinker. This first Maccabees 3:48, and laid open the book of the law wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. Right? So that's what they did. That's what they did as a nation, man. Okay? And it tells you, and I mentioned Moses, right? And it tells you in the scripture that Moses was a so-called black man. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get it. This Exodus 6. Lock it. This Exodus 4 and Exodus 4 and 6. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, which he's talking to Moses, put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, right? And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. So the Heavenly Father took the elements out of Moses' hand and he had leprosy. In other words, he looked like these so-called white people that's walking around today. His hand did. But what was the rest of his body? The rest of his body looked like what you see on this camera right now, me. Okay, but his hand had leprosy. Okay, when he put it in his bosom. Verse 7, and he said, put thy hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. So what was his other flesh? What you see on this camera, looking like me. Okay? So they come up with these movies because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and they put these different characters in there, okay, which are biblical Israelites, but they're being played by so-called white men, Edomites. And Moses was a dark-skinned man. He was an Israelite, okay? He was an Israelite. And then they will make movies about Paul, and Paul was a dark-skinned man, okay? And to prove that, I'm gonna go to Acts, right? And I'm just showing you how they covered the faces of the judges, okay? This Acts, get over there. This is when the Lord, this is when Paul went to Jerusalem, right? This Acts 21 and I start at 37. This Acts 21 and 37. And as Paul was led to be, and as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, can thou speak of Greek? Yeah, because Paul could speak Greek because of what had happened to Israel during the Hasmonean Empire, during the Maccabean Empire, during the reign of the Greek Empire, Antiochus Epiphanes, because Israel became Hellenized. Well, it started off with Alexander them, okay? But Antiochus Epiphanes was the one to force it really on Israel. But it started it started with Alexander, because you got to remember, Alexander was taught by not Socrates, but I forget the guy's name, but I'll put it up, Lord willing. It escapes me right now. But he was taught not by Socrates, but damn, I can't remember his name. But anyway, it escapes me right now. But he told Alexander that he gotta push his way of life on the Persians. Okay? He gotta push his way of life on the Persians. Okay? So it started, I forget the guy's name, but I'll put him up, like I said, Lord willing, through the Spirit. But I forget his name, but it started with them. So they were already leaning to the customs of the Greeks, so-called white man. But when Antiochus Epiphanes came on the scene, it was forced heavily on Israel, because that was when the temple became abominable, because they were sacrificing swine flesh. When you read about that in the Maccabees, okay. So Paul was learned in Greek because Israel started speaking Greek, and Paul had to go to them Israelites that were speaking Greek, that was in a Gentile state of mind, okay, who had lost their way, so to speak. This Acts 21 and 37. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee question? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Verse 38. Art thou that Egyptian? So the ancient Egyptians, before the Ptolemies came into power, they were dark-skinned people. Okay? Even it tells you in the Zanzibar Compact Bible Dictionary that the Egyptians were dark-skinned people before the Ptolemy them came into power. Okay? When Ptolemy them came into power, Alexander them general, when he came into power, that's when them Edomites pushed their vibration in Egypt. Okay, and they started changing name. Okay, Egypt's real name, how you say it in the really is Mizraim, is Matazayim, which means bondage. Okay, that's the real way you say Egypt. Is Mizraim in the Hebrew is Matazayim, which means bondage. Okay, and Ptolemy don't push their vibration. The Edomites pushed their vibration in Egypt, but the real Egyptians were dark-skinned people. And right now, that's why you see them Arabs in there, because when Ptolemy had them, the real Egyptians in subjection, and they came into power, they started pushing them Egyptians, the real Egyptians out of there. So the real Egyptians down in the Dominican Republic and Democrat of the Congo, the Democratic Republic, the Democratic of the Congos and the Republic of the Congos. Okay, that's where they had the Watusis, the Zulus, and the Sudanese. That's where the real Egyptians are at. And after Ptolemy pushed them out of there, and when they fell, them Arabs got up in there. So that's why you see a lot of Arabs that's in Egypt right now. The real Egyptians you might got something mingled up in there, but the masses of them are down in the Democratic and the Republic of the Congo, man, the Watusis and the Zulus and the Sudanese, okay? And in the Zanzibar Compact Bible Dictionary, right? Look up the word ham. The prove power of the dark-skinned man. The prove power of the dark-skinned man, and they covered the faces of the judges thereof, right? It says, this on page, in the Zanzibar Compact Bible Dictionary, right? In the Zanzibar Compact Bible Dictionary, you know what I'm saying? I'm just showing you the page. Matter of fact, I'll show you what it, and then I read it. I'll show you what it looked like, then I read it. Okay, in the Zandivan Compact Bible Dictionary, right? This on page 213. It says ham, perhaps hot. That's what the land of Africa is really called. It's called Ham. Africa was named after Leos Scipio's Africanus, a Roman general that defeated Hannibal in the Third Punic War. Hannibal Barca in the Third Punic War, and he was an Israelite. This Ham, perhaps hot, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor, meaning to push the gene forth, of the dark races. Okay? He became the progenitor of the dark races, which they went off on that because everybody was dark back then. Okay? Sham, Ham, and Japheth, even Noah. Okay? But this is telling you that the Hamites and the progenitor of the Hamites was a dark-skinned man. Okay? Not the Negroes, because we didn't come out of Ham. We came out of Sham. Okay? But the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. So even though scholars, these so-called scholars, these instructors already know that the real Egyptians, before Ptolemy them got in there, the Edomites, they know that there was a dark nation. There was a dark-skinned nation, okay? Which I told you where that was at. The Watusis, the Zulus, and the Sudanese. Those are the actual Egyptians. Okay? So we know that the Egyptians were the dark-skinned nation, right? This Acts 21 and 39. Hold on. This Acts 21 and 38. Are not thou that Egyptian, which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness, 400 men that were murdered, right? So he mistaked Paul as an Egyptian. So how is that possible if he was a so-called white man? Okay? So that let you know they covered the faces of the judges thereof, right? Because Paul, and they make movies of Paul being a so-called white man, looking like an Edomite, when Paul was a so-called dark-skinned man. Okay? And he was an Israelite. All you got to do is read Romans 11th chapter in the first verse to tell you straight up that he's an Israelite out of the tribe of Benjamin. And the Benjaminites are the West Indies today. Okay? Jamaica, so-called Jamaican. Right? This Acts 21 and 37. And as Paul was to be led into the council, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Question. Verse 38. Art thou that Egyptian, which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness, 4,000 men that were murdered? What it is what they tried to do is, you had Israelites link up with them Egyptians to try to take back the temple, okay? And who was sent out to overthrow them was Felix, okay? So Felix destroyed Israelites and them Egyptians for trying to get back the temple, because it wasn't time for Israel to recapture it, man. They couldn't overthrow the Roman Empire like that, okay? Because it was time for the Romans to rule, and they tried to overthrow it carnally, and it wasn't gonna work like that. So Felix put him to death, man. So he was mistaking Paul for that Egyptian who was leading them Israelites to get back the temple, okay? This verse 39. But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew from Tarshish, a city in Sicilia, right? A citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had given his license, and when he had